What is up, world? What is up with the Indiana Fever? Caitlin Clark seems to be a little different. Is it because she truly doesn't know who has her back?
Stretches that are really good, and there can be stretches that aren't as good, and obviously it's frustrating. You want them to go in and...
Caitlin Clark delivered a harsh wake-up call to the Indiana Fever after seeing her teammates crumble under pressure, with tensions continuing to disrupt the locker room.
The Barbie Brawl, where I've noticed a change in Caitlin Clark's body language. You got all of these other women who are, supposedly teammates of Caitlin Clark. No one's helping.
Lacking any real system, resilience, or leadership, Clark finds herself worn out and alone, having to shoulder the entire team while opponents focus on shutting her down every game.
Caitlin Clark can't function when things aren't aligned, and it seems like things are in a disarray. Seems like the locker room is split.
The Indiana Fever fell to the Las Vegas Aces 89-81 in a matchup they really should have closed out, only to squander it in sloppy fashion. Their season so far has been a complete disaster. No clear style, no flow, no spark, and no toughness. It's been Caitlin Clark single-handedly trying to keep the team afloat every night, like a student hauling unhelpful group partners through a final project.
The thing I'm going to point out is this team has no camaraderie. The second thing is they don't have any identity.
Caitlin Clark finally spoke out after the team's latest rough outing. Her voice clearly edged with frustration, even as she tried to stay diplomatic about how bad things have gotten. She openly acknowledged that her biggest hurdle now is maintaining her confidence and finding ways to contribute beyond scoring.
We don't want to see Caitlin Clark lose her confidence on the court. We don't want to see her energy be drained from her. We don't want to see her lose that spark, because that is the DNA of Caitlin Clark.
In other words, she's out there handling it all while her teammates look like they're asleep on the bench. Honestly, if you were on her team and heard that, wouldn't you feel at least a bit ashamed? Apparently not, since the lack of effort just keeps happening.
This team looks like they go just as Caitlin Clark goes. Yes, she does a fine job of putting players in positions because of her IQ, the way that she can pass the ball.
Let's look at the stats, because the stats tell the truth, even if this team won't admit it to themselves. Clark struggled with her shot against the Aces, hitting just 7 of 20 overall and an ugly 1 of 10 from beyond the arc. 1 for 10. And it doesn't stop there. Over her last few games, she's only managed 1 of 7 on threes. Pretty shocking numbers for someone billed as the league's premier shooter.
There is no set offense. It looks like they just go. We saw Caitlin Clark kind of throw a snub at Coach White, saying that I want to play a little bit faster, but we're playing the way that Coach wants us to play.
And here's the really alarming part. She actually turned down a completely open 3 for the first time ever. Imagine that. Caitlin Clark hesitating on a shot, like Steph Curry refusing a game-winning attempt. It simply doesn't happen. Unless your confidence has completely cratered because your teammates keep hanging you out to dry.
Also because it seemed like there was something off with this Fever team. They didn't have the same energy and spark that we all know and love. So many fans are asking, what is going on?
But wait. It actually gets even more ridiculous, or entertaining if you're into watching a slow-motion disaster. Remember that so-called Barbie Brawl? That was when Caitlin Clark got knocked to the floor, and everyone in a Fever uniform just stood there like spectators with courtside tickets instead of teammates in the game. As for locker room chemistry, it's non-existent. Team spirit. You'd have an easier time spotting Bigfoot than seeing them back each other up.
No. Ever since the Barbie Brawl, you guys noticed, Caitlin Clark gets pushed down. This is your franchise player. Not only is this the franchise player, this is the face of the league.
And let's talk about Aaliyah Boston for a moment. Sure, she's well-liked and undeniably talented. I'll give her that. But where's the intensity? Where's the grit? She has the size, the skills, and the reputation. But when it's time to stand up for your star teammate, she's completely absent. You can't claim to be the team's muscle if you're more worried about being courteous than using your strength when your franchise player gets knocked around.
None of her teammates came to her defense. Aaliyah Boston, great woman, gentle giant. She's just not like this, so we can't begrudge her for that, okay guys? But you got all of these other women.
Meanwhile, credit where it's due. Sophie Cunningham is the last one actually stepping up. Call her Karate Kid if you want, black belt and everything, but she's proven she's willing to stand up for Caitlin. It's no wonder her jersey sold out. Fever fans are desperate to support at least one player showing some real grit. Honestly, it's Sophie, Lexi Hull, and Clark putting in the effort. The rest, they might as well be warming the bench just to keep the seats occupied.
It's helping, which is why Sophie Cunningham jersey sold out, because Mrs. Karate Kid, aka Black Belt, she comes to Caitlin Clark's aid. She shows that she actually has her back and that she actually has heart. They hang out a lot.
At this point, the Indiana Fever resemble a messy reality TV show more than an actual basketball team. Off-court drama. Absolutely. On-court chaos. Their star player starting to doubt her own team. That's a resounding yes.
But ever since that moment, guys, Caitlin Clark seems to be a little different. Is it because she truly doesn't know who has her back? And a lot of these women who are not heterosexual, guys, let me repeat that.
Meanwhile, while Clark is getting beat up on the floor, guess who's enjoying every second of it? Pretty much every rival in the league. She shot to being the face of the WNBA practically overnight, and now she's got a giant target on her back. DJ Carrington even went so far as to poke her in the eye just to grab some buzz. Angel Reese. She's leaning all the way into the trash talk, crafting her villain image. All these players want to ride the wave of drama Clark brings, without putting in even half the effort she does.
I think the little things, we've kind of just shot ourselves in the leg consistently doing that.
But I guess through all of this, what I'm trying to say is we do not know what is going on.
And where exactly are Clark's teammates during all of this? Looking the other way, standing idle, refusing to get their hands dirty. Apparently, actually standing up for your star player is asking too much. Clark is at her best when the game is gritty, when there's fire and trash talk. But the Fever's passive, overly polite team culture has stifled her. They've left her to run the offense alone while avoiding any confrontation. An impossible ask for someone whose whole style is built on intensity, competitiveness, and refusing to back down.
Struggled that game. There were things that seemed off about her game. However, she still put up 19 points and 10 assists. She still had a double-double in that regard, and she had 3 rebounds as well.
Other teams openly say, if that were our player, we'd have their back immediately. But in Indiana, it's like no one's paying attention. They crave the spotlight, the flashy plays, the merch sales. But when it's time to show toughness, loyalty, and stand up for one of their own, they vanish. Caitlin Clark deserves a team that actually supports her.
Feeling off at all from threes or anything like that?
No, I mean, there's going to be stretches that are really good, and there's going to be stretches that aren't as good, and obviously it's frustrating. You want them to go in, and even tonight I felt like there was a few that felt really good off my hand and you just didn't go down.
And while we're on the topic of toughness, let's examine the free throw stats. If you want proof of who's bringing real grit, this is it. Las Vegas earned 21 attempts at the line, while Indiana scraped together only 9. That's domination through sheer physical play. The Fever look passive. They're not driving hard, not drawing contact, just standing by and hoping Clark rescues them. That free throw gap lays bare who's imposing their will and who's crumbling when it gets intense.
Shot that she passed up. Now, she had been missing a few shots, and if you guys were on my live stream, I said the thing that she needs to do is to continue shooting. Shooters.
But honestly, none of this should come as a shock when you look at what's unfolding behind closed doors. The locker room has turned into complete chaos. Constant off-court distractions, clashing viewpoints, and personality conflicts that are tearing everything apart. Dana Bonner has now missed 5 games in a row, a veteran who's vanished right when they need leadership and steadiness more than ever. On top of that, Coach Christie has taken so many personal days lately, it's hard to tell if she even remembers her way back to the bench. How are you supposed to develop any team cohesion when your coach is preoccupied with her own issues and your most experienced player is just gone?
And Clark, and I feel like this was the very first time that we saw maybe a dip in her confidence or something else was going on. And I don't want to speculate and say that it is that. She might also be sick.
Anyone watching can see the pattern. They come out strong with some early spark, but collapse as soon as real pressure mounts. Savvier, tougher teams exploit Indiana without much effort. And in those moments, There's nobody on the Fever demanding calls or standing up to refs. Coach side seems to vanish when the game turns tense. Meanwhile, the players appear more focused on curating their social media presence than putting up solid numbers. It's like watching a boat adrift with no compass. Honestly, even the Titanic seemed to have more sense of direction.
And so it's just frustrating. And I think for the challenge for myself going forward is just, continue to pour into every other aspect of the game, and I can continue to have an impact in, all those other areas. I thought I got to the rim well. It was just,
Without strong personalities or vocal leaders backing her up, Caitlin Clark is left completely on her own. She's shouldering all the pressure, the expectations, and the hopes of the entire fan base, while the rest of the team offers almost nothing when it really counts. And here's the real shocker. Clark's post-game comments weren't just venting, they were clear warning signs. You can see the toll it's taking on her. She looks mentally drained, passing up good looks, her body language dull and clearly stressed. And it's only spiraling further.
She was feeding the ball to Aaliyah Boston, she was getting her teammates involved, she was taking it to the rim, and she did miss some shots around the rim.
Instead of safeguarding their top talent, the Fever, the league, and the media are all busy milking the drama for profit. Ratings are climbing, merchandise is selling out, and headlines are everywhere. But when it comes to actually supporting Caitlin with a solid foundation, nothing. No grit, no real plan, no spine. They're happy to grab the fame and the money without putting in the work needed to keep a generational player like Clark from burning out. If they don't move quickly, bring in real leadership, unify the team, and add players willing to stand up for their star, her frustration is going to boil over. Indiana risks being remembered as the franchise that squandered one of the greatest talents women's basketball has seen in decades. The Fever need to wake up before they're forever known as the team that let Caitlin Clark go to waste.